when we reflect on speech, today, there are ways in which, there are times in which we speak more wisely and times that we speak less wisely, but this invitation of this inquiry about how we can speak into the world in ways that are creating the world we want to live in, what is in our hearts when we speak, and what are the results of that speech. When there is a closed heart, an angry heart, what speech comes out? When there's a courageous, compassionate heart, what speech comes out, and how does that influence ourselves? How does it influence the relationships we're in, and how does it influence the patterns of society and how we meet one another with speech? I feel like at the best, wise speech is, coming from our deep values, and it's a space for healing, a space for refuge. Both within ourselves, when we've perhaps abandoned ourselves in the past, and also in these outer relationships. Wise speech is kind of rooted in this heart, this limitless heart that knows that we are all connected. So even when attending to difficulty, we're not exiling anyone or anything from our heart. And so maybe with those reflections, we'll have some space for practice to land in the body, to see how these words meet you. What's alive in the heart and the body, letting it being information. And maybe contemplating on the speech that you wish to offer in the world or have offered in the world, and the results of that speech. And so inviting you to connect with the stability of this space that we're in, relative quiet, relative stillness, the support of the chair or the cushion, the space around the body and the cushion. No need to make the body small, allowing the body to rest and be supported by the space and the support around the body. And inviting the mind to rest with the body. Noticing the movement of the breath as it goes in and out, the body moves. Maybe feeling the sensation of air moving around you, within you. The space within and without. And noticing what's alive in the heart, what's arising as information, as it changes and shifts, comes and goes, not needing to grasp onto any thought or sensation, not needing to push anything away. Really allowing embodied presence to be a place of rest, of learning, of knowing what it is to be alive, right here in this simplicity. And when the mind wanders, just inviting it back gently, releasing tension in the body, gently arriving, noticing what's here. Thank you for your practice. I'd like to invite any reflections from any of you, any insights you had around speech as you were just contemplating now, if it wants to be shared. Just wanted to provide space for our voices to enter the room. You can raise your hand and a mic will come around.
Well, I was just thinking a lot about how speech for me is like typically, in most spaces, something that I don't really engage, or that I like am one of the last to engage, and yeah, and I think I'm just thinking more about, I don't know, the ways in which speech kind of is a physical thing that, moves through and affects structures of things, and also heard this very interesting, or like kind of amazing and beautiful thing today, that for people who are like cognitively like impaired, or like someone who has just suffered a stroke, or is in kind of some state where they can't really communicate verbally, that they are able to like sing, which like was kind of shocking or astounding to hear that. And I mean, I guess, in a physical sense, like those are sort of different parts of our brains or minds, and that like, so I'm just curious, because I often have like music and singing happening while I'm meditating, and so it's curious to me to kind of think about or notice like speech and song, and where they kind of intersect, and where they're different entities.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot comes to mind actually when you say that. I think of protest song. That's the first thing that came. And there are so many ways in which our nervous systems are wired, and that kind of emotional resonance of music in particular with the soma. And I was inviting you to kind of reflect on the words and the response or the results, and so I think you're tapping into something in the way that you're wired, and how language and speech and expression comes through. Is there anyone else who would like to share today? And so with that reflection and our time in silence together, we can close, and I'll dedicate the merit briefly. And so may the benefit of this time together and our listening and courageous, kind, timely, and truthful speech be of benefit to ourselves and all beings everywhere without exception. And may it be a cause and condition for peace, for joy, for all to know in this lifetime.